what does Danelle have for us? Well, I will share this with you. So she goes on to mention the other day, right? Actually, not the other, March 4th. You may think this is old. Just hear me out. I will expand on it. I promise you'll love it. There's a reason why major financial institutions prefer Stellar when it comes to tokenization. Read about it yourself. We're going to do that. Let's pull this up. So here is something I thought was really good. Okay. And that is from CoinDesk. Now, it talks about these benefits. All right. Stellar benefits in regards to tokenization. And I apologize. I got, it's new change of weather, kind of going from late winter to early spring, where you want to call it. My nose been getting itchy. But yeah, Stellar's benefits. You know, the whole thing of this concept, stablecoin issuance, tokenized treasuries. If you didn't see the other video, or you're on the live, you tune in late, we just talked about tokenization, especially that reference to the United States Department of Treasury and why Stellar kind of like tagged them unofficially, if you will, and explain why that was so significant. And of course, we talked about ARF, but this time around, back to the whole thing about tokenization, especially when it comes to RWA. Stellar, a leader in tokenized real-world assets, according to data from RWA.xyz, Stellar-based RWAs, real-world assets, if you didn't know what that means, make up about 40% of the tokenized treasury market. Again, back to the whole reference of the treasury that we're talking about, making it the second largest blockchain by total value locked. Now, this is where I really, really feel if you understand the greater, bigger picture of Stellar, then you won't FUD the whole idea of, oh, it's only like 15 cents. You know what I mean? Oh, it's only done a little bit. I mean, you know how many people say Stellar is dead? I just like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding. But when we talk about your BlackRocks of the world and, State Streets, Vanguards, you name it, and they talk about the tokenization of real world assets and being put on chain, we dream about this whole notion of like, wow, BlackRock, $10 trillion in assets and being able to, put that on chain. Now, in reality, it probably won't be the full 10 trillion. Let's just be real about that. But even if they just did 10% of that, all right, that would be huge, right? That's over $1 trillion being put on chain. And that would be contributed to the, some people say like the overall crypto market. But when you see terms like this, that with Stellar, you're going to have the second largest blockchain in regards to total value locked. You honestly think you're still going to see examples of these prices and market cap where they're at? Now, here's an example. Some people will say, yeah, absolutely. Because we have all this stuff and it's not doing anything. We have these partnerships, we have examples, but we don't have mass utility in motion. We don't have mass adoption yet. But I want to get back to this for a second. If we're going to talk about BTC as being a store of value, people call it digital gold. We're 72,000 plus. Okay. It's the money for the most part stays there. Okay. And this is where people feel as though like, I'm just going to park my money into BTC and let it sit. And then as a result, it should do fine. And I also understand the whole concept of, well, way less supply BTC compared to Stellar. Very true. But can we all agree on this? If you have something like this, where literally real world assets, we're talking about like many different things to fall into that category. And that is going to be literally stored on the second largest blockchain based off a total value locked. You still believe that is only going to be worth like under $1 or 50 cents, 25 cents, where the case be? I mean, don't overthink it, right? So this part, for many global financial institutions today, the Stellar blockchain is the ideal platform for asset tokenization. Why? Yeah, why? A lot of people ask me that as well. Like, can you give example? I don't know, was it Dingy earlier talking about NFTs, RWA, right? But why is all that? And let's just make this bigger where you can see it really nicely done in that regard. So I'm gonna take off this as well. And yeah, let's talk about this for a second. So Why? Well, for Franklin Templeton, it was the network's low cost built in asset controls and compliance features and a simple, streamlined developer experience. While major decisions like this are typically made through partnership, Franklin Templeton's decision simply came down to the benefits of the network and its accessibility as an open source project. Again, back to what I was talking about earlier, open source project to attract other devs to come and build on your chain because you're not asking devs to go back to college and learn new code, and especially 3 lines of code. Come on. So while major decisions like this are typically made through partnership, Franklin Templeton's decision simply came down to the benefits of the network and its accessibility as an open source project. Now let's talk about that for a second. So earlier we talked about specifically, ARF and how ARF allows Stellar to compete with the likes of Ripple's XRP for on-demand liquidity. That's one utility layer. Then we talk about some of these other things, right? Especially when it comes to smart contracts and so on. Let's talk about this, because if you understand the benefits of an open source project, you will understand that RWA in itself is another aspect of what is, going to be huge for, obviously Stellar. Danelle was part of this discussion during this panel at the World at ZVET Economic Forum. Jawohl. Dixon said that she first learned of Franklin Templeton's use of Stellar when she basically saw its SEC filing in 2019, signaling that it had started work on its money market. And quote, here's a quote: "It's been really wonderful to work with them to understand why they did it and also the value that it's bringing to their new customers in or on the Benji app." As Franklin Templeton was working to bring its mutual market fund to the network and showcasing its potential of integration of traditional finance with blockchain tech, other financial institutions started to take on experiments of their own. With Stellar, asset issuers benefit from powerful built-in features, enabling businesses to tokenize real-world assets quickly with limited expertise needed, low development costs, and strong asset issuer controls. Okay, we have to pause on that. Now, why would I pause on this? Why would I pause on this? Think about it for a second. Ask yourself this. Why is old Max pausing specifically on that? The answer is this. When you see a statement like that, and I guess you could say, pull it back on the screen, my bad. The statement like that is profound. Why is it so profound? Because when you see that it's institutions, right, the big ones especially, recognizing the benefits of powerful built-in features, tokenize real-world assets quickly, limited expertise needed, low development costs, issuer controls. What is the current thing that's going on as we speak with Soroban? With Soroban, you're attracting devs to do what? The same thing. Why is that so big? Because devs come in and build, they don't have to relearn anything. Now you have examples where institutions, the big businesses, to come in, tokenize real world assets quickly with limited expertise. Again, it's the same situation. So you are getting a 2-for-1. So you have a perfect scenario where Stellar, like I mentioned before on the other video, hits two birds with one stone. And that's huge. They're recognizing it's not just them focusing on the retail side of things, but also focusing on the bigger picture, the big money. Support for asset issuers doesn't just stop at the network level. They facilitate easy, low-cost asset tokenization. Stellar has worked with Fireblocks, BitGo, Copper, other asset issuance service providers to perform a range or support, excuse me, of services like custody, analytics, custody and analytics. Oh, really? So again, back to the BlackRock example. BlackRock is the world's largest asset custodian. So you're going to provide services that's going to make it even so simple with such ease to make it seamless, future proof for the likes of Larry Fink, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, and a whole other list, Franklin Templeton. Yes, because there it is. It's highlighted for you. And this ecosystem, we're talking about Soroban again, hosts a variety of platforms, wallets, on and off ramps. Again, back to the whole thing of Wisdom Tree and some of these other things, MoneyGram. Support newly minted assets. Again, newly minted is a difference between that and what's currently out there. If you're complaining about the whole notion of, I don't see price movement for Stellar, you're not understanding, and this is no disrespect. I have nothing but love and admiration even for people that maybe not agree with me. But you're not understanding the whole concept of why there's so much emphasis on retail. Why there's so much emphasis on utility. This is where this whole concept of, does your cryptocurrency have any utility? Because when you understand this, it opens up the whole thing of, okay, what does that utility do? And if the answer is the utility hasn't been utilized yet, then how can anything really pump yet? Everything is based off a catalyst. And as a result, the market reflects that. One of the positive catalysts is a few of the recent news things that were posted recently, like Soroban, big update, ARF, milestone. All those things are great to recognize as catalysts. Huge difference between catalyst and huge difference between utility and motion. But can we get to that motion? And you better believe the answer is yes, because it's back to this, and I'll share it again. On and off ramps to support newly minted assets. There's so many real world assets out there, but they haven't been what, guys? They haven't been newly minted. If we're going to talk about like the likes of Quant, and we do all the time, and talking about the whole thing that Overledger is going to be like an enabler, for example, like, Project Roslyn with CBDCs, making international settlements and so on. That's an enabler, right? That is a platform to use the utility to get that in motion, as in obviously CBDCs. But the same example applies to even what you see here, newly minted assets. Are we at that point yet? No, because if we had an example of newly minted assets, then they'll be represented where? They'll be represented on chain. And therefore, that would bring in what? More money that would be represented on chain. We're not even close to that yet. So are we complaining about price action, or are we just simply not understanding the bigger picture? My thing is this: there will be FOMO money that will come in, and it's too late for those people. I hate to say it is. Why would you want to get into this like Stellar when it's worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars in the future? People say that's a price prediction. I don't care. I've been consistent about that. My thing is this: understand that this is still incredibly cheap as far as the price, as you and me being a retail investor. Consider a blessing in disguise for how long it still exists at these prices. At some point, just like again, back to the reference of the World Bank, Ripple, Stellar, XRP, XLM, for what? Global stablecoins, not paid at a 1:1 ratio to the dollar, but have to have a high stable value. Why? Because the examples that you see here for the on and off ramps to support newly minted assets, this expansive ecosystem. Think about the whole bigger picture. Asset issuers to grow. Who are the asset issuers? Your BlackRocks, your State Streets, your Vanguards, to grow their addressable markets by making assets available through the many companies building on Stellar. If you understand the bigger picture of Stellar or any of this stuff tied into real world asset tokenization, then you already know what you have and you already know why you hold it. And as I always would say, the research trumps FUD 110%. Some of you guys ask what cold storage solution I use. I use this, and it is the Decent wallet. All right. I also, of course, have a ledger like this. All right. You can get a discount basically from going into the affiliate link, which is in all the live video descriptions and recorded and so on. And for the Yahoos that are out there, they're like, This is just a shield, and we'll fix point this out, and it's a great point. Were you aware that you don't necessarily get a discount link just going straight to the site? No, you actually have to go through a platform like this. So how cool is that? I don't think anybody's complaining about that. But anyway, use the link, get a discount. There's another one here. If you're the type of person you want to get one for you and your significant other, you can get 2 of them. They actually have another promotion, which is this, and I think this is cool. You can get an all-in-one card wallet plus backup card package. Interesting. I thought that was cool. And again, one of the main key things I like about the Descent wallet is not having to do the red tape of jumping through all the hoops for XDC and the custom folder. I mean, Edward Vincent can vouch on that. Some of you guys can too as well in regards to Ledger. That was a pain in the butt. You don't have that problem. You literally open up your phone, it's on your app, track everything that's going on, right? And saying goes, not your keys, not your crypto. You know the drill. Check it all out though if you wish to do so. It is truly the cold storage solution that I use for the most part. There's still some on Ledger that I kind of split it up on it and so on. So it is what it is. But if I have preference over one, I'm going with this one. A lot easier to use and so on. And some people, even to this day, still ask me which one to use.